What if the voice inside your head is not really yours? What if fear, silence, and hidden memories have been controlling your mind for years? Tonight, we enter the dark side of human psychology. The whispers you ignore, the patterns you never see, and the memories your mind never forgets. Because the greatest mystery is not the world outside. It is the one living inside your mind. Number 1. Borrowed inner voices. Sometimes the most dangerous sound is not outside you. It is the voice that speaks when everything becomes silent. You sit alone. No people, no noise, no movement. Yet something still whispers. You are weak. You will fail. You are not enough. Most people believe these thoughts are their own. They accept them without question. They protect them. They build their identity around them. But what if those thoughts were never yours? Every person leaves traces inside the mind. A harsh teacher, a painful memory, a friend who betrayed you, a stranger who laughed, a family member who doubted you. The moment disappears. The voice stays. Years pass, but the whisper survives. The brain stores emotional echoes. It keeps words longer than faces. Sometimes it keeps fear longer than truth. That is why a single sentence can live inside someone for years. One moment, one wound, one whisper, and suddenly a person changes. You stop taking risks. You stop speaking. You stop believing. Not because reality defeated you, because a borrowed voice became your inner narrator. The human mind has a strange habit. It repeats familiar pain. Even when freedom exists, it returns to old darkness because darkness feels known. The prison becomes comfortable. The whisper becomes identity. The fear becomes personality. And slowly, you forget who you were before the noise arrived. But there is something hidden behind every thought. An observer, a silent witness, the real you. That version does not shout. It watches, it waits, it asks one question. Who placed this thought here? The moment you ask that question, the mind changes, because unseen voices are powerful. Seen voices become weak. Tonight, when silence comes, do not fight every thought. Do not believe every whisper. Just listen. Some voices belong to memory. Some belong to fear. Some belong to people who left long ago. And some were never yours from the beginning. The greatest mystery of the mind is this. Not every voice inside you is your own. Sometimes the loudest thought is only an old echo looking for a place to survive. Number 2, beyond the thoughts. Sometimes the mind feels like a room filled with voices. Some are loud, some are quiet, and some hide so deep that you mistake them for truth. You wake up with thoughts already waiting. Do not trust. Stay silent. Do not dream too much. Day after day, these whispers grow stronger. You hear them so often that they stop sounding like strangers. They start sounding like you. But the human mind is not born full of fear. Fear is collected, thought by thought, moment by moment. A painful memory becomes a warning. A failure becomes a belief. A broken trust becomes a wall. And slowly the mind builds a world that exists only inside itself. That is where most people become trapped, not in reality. Inside invisible stories. The dangerous part is that thoughts do not ask permission. They arrive. They move. They repeat. And repetition creates identity. You tell yourself something enough times, the brain accepts it. Even if it is false. That is why people carry limits that never belonged to them. Someone once doubted them. Someone once laughed. Someone once left. The event ended. The echo remained. Years later, the person is gone. The thought survives. But there is another place inside the mind, a silent place, a space beyond fear, beyond memory, beyond the endless noise. It does not speak loudly. It watches. It observes. It waits for you to notice it. Because you are not every thought that enters your mind. You are the one standing behind them. Imagine your thoughts as clouds moving across a dark sky. Some bring storms, some bring shadows, some disappear in seconds. The sky remains. You are that sky. Not the storm, not the whisper, not the fear. Tonight, when your mind begins speaking again, listen carefully. Do not ask what the thought says. Ask where it came from. That question changes everything. Because the moment you look beyond the thought, you begin to see yourself. And maybe the real version of you was never lost. It was only hidden behind the noise. Beyond the fear. Beyond the stories. Beyond the thoughts. Number 3, whispers of control. There are prisons with walls, and there are prisons without them. The second kind is more dangerous because you cannot see it. You only feel it. A thought appears. Stay quiet. Do not trust. Do not show weakness. You obey, not because someone forced you, because the command already lives inside your mind. Control does not always arrive with power. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper. Small, silent, almost invisible. The human brain collects patterns every day. Words become beliefs. Beliefs become habits. Habits become identity. And one day you wake up living a life designed by thoughts you never questioned. Someone judged you once. Now you judge yourself. Someone ignored you. Now you hide your feelings. Someone made you feel small. Now you shrink your own dreams. The person disappeared. The control remained. This is how invisible chains are created. No sound. No lock, only repeated thoughts. Most people think freedom means escaping the world. But sometimes freedom means escaping the voice inside. The one that says, you cannot. You should stop. You will fail. That voice feels real because it has been repeated for years. The mind trusts repetition, not truth. Repeat fear long enough, it becomes reality. Repeat doubt long enough, it becomes personality. Repeat silence long enough, you forget your own voice. But hidden beneath all that noise is another version of you. Calm, watching, unaffected. It has always been there, waiting, not speaking. Only observing. The moment you notice it, control begins to break, because awareness destroys invisible power. The whisper loses strength. The fear loses shape. The chain becomes visible, and visible chains can be removed. Tonight, when silence enters the room, listen carefully. Not every command deserves obedience. Not every thought deserves belief. Some whispers protect you. Some whispers guide you. And some whispers only want control. The dangerous part is not hearing them. The dangerous part is calling them yourself. Number 4, the hidden pattern. Your mind notices more than you think. Every reaction, every fear, every silent pause. Nothing disappears. It hides, and what hides long enough becomes a pattern. You wake up, you repeat the same thoughts, you expect the same pain, you fear the same ending. Not because life is repeating, because the brain loves patterns. It searches for them everywhere, in faces, in memories, in failure, in silence. That is why one bad moment can shape years of behavior. A broken trust becomes distance. A single loss becomes fear. One humiliation becomes a hidden wound. The event ends. The pattern survives. Most people think they are making choices. Sometimes they are only repeating old programming. You avoid opportunities. You stay silent. You hold back. And deep inside, an invisible rule keeps controlling everything. A rule you never wrote. A belief you never questioned. That is the hidden pattern. It works in darkness, quietly, patiently. It waits until repetition becomes identity. Then it says, this is who you are. But what if it is not? What if you are only carrying echoes from another chapter? Think about it. How many fears belong to you? How many were inherited? How many came from one moment you never healed? The mind remembers what the heart tries to bury, and buried things do not disappear. They speak through behavior, through hesitation, through silence. That is why awareness matters, because once the pattern becomes visible, it loses its shadow. You stop reacting, you start observing, you stop obeying, you start understanding, and that changes everything. Tonight, watch your thoughts, watch your reactions, watch the stories your mind repeats. Some of them are truth, some are memory, and some are hidden patterns pretending to be you. The question is not, what do I think? The real question is, why do I keep thinking it? Number 5, the mind remembers. The mind forgets faces, it forgets places, it forgets dates, but it remembers feelings. A moment lasts seconds, a feeling can live for years. That is the strange power of the human mind. Someone hurts you once, time moves forward, life changes, people disappear, yet something remains, not the event. The emotion, the mind stores it in silence, hidden, waiting, and one day it returns, not as memory, as behavior. You avoid people you never met. You fear endings before they happen. You build walls around places that were never dangerous. You think you are protecting yourself, but maybe You are only obeying old memories. The mind remembers pain differently. It keeps the emotion even when the story fades. That is why people carry invisible weight. No scars, no evidence, only silent reactions. A sound, a word, a look, and suddenly the past speaks again. Most people fight their memories. They try to erase them, but the mind does not work that way. What is ignored becomes louder. What is buried learns how to return. The deeper it hides, the stronger its shadow becomes. But there is another path. Not running, not fighting, understanding, looking directly at the memory without becoming it, watching it, learning from it, letting it exist without control. Because memory is not identity, pain is not destiny, and the past is not the owner of your future. Still, the mind remembers. It remembers nights no one saw, thoughts no one heard, fears no one understood. It keeps everything, like a silent library built in darkness. But inside that darkness is something important. Awareness. The moment you notice the memory, its power changes. The shadow becomes visible. The weight becomes lighter. The whisper becomes only a whisper. Tonight before sleep, ask yourself one question. What am I still carrying? The answer may not come immediately, but your mind already knows, because it remembers. It always remembers. And sometimes, healing begins the moment you finally listen.